Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today we're going to be talking about air-fuel ratios, stoichiometric values, lambda, and a few other things. So first we're going to start by talking about the internal combustion engine, and it's a four-stroke engine. On a four-stroke engine, you have the intake stroke where air and fuel is brought into the cylinder, a compression stroke where that air-fuel mixture is compressed by the piston, and then the power stroke as the spark plug fires and that explosion pushes the piston down, and then the exhaust stroke as the piston pushes the exhaust out of the engine. And that cycle repeats over and over again on each of the cylinders. So the key is to have the perfect ignition timing for the spark plug to fire, and then you want the perfect burn, which is known as stoichiometric, or called Stoich, as a lot of people will call it. Stoichiometric or theoretical combustion is the ideal combustion process where fuel is burned completely. And complete combustion is a process burning all of the carbon to CO2, all the hydrogen to H2O, and all the sulfur to SO2. So to get to this perfect stoichiometric burn, different fuels have different ratios. And so, for example, gasoline will require 14.7 parts air for every 1 part of fuel. Now, if you look at the pump, some of them will say this fuel contains up to 10% ethanol. Well, that will change the mixture to needing to be a little bit more rich. So you're down to 14.1 parts air for every 1 part of fuel. And then when you get into flex fuel, the E85, the ethanol, it's going to be a lot more rich of a mixture, and it's going to need 9.7 parts of air for every part of fuel. Now, your car does have O2 sensors, right? Oxygen sensors that are looking for that perfect stoichiometric burn. So they're reporting how much oxygen is in the system, but they only work on a 0 to 1 volt range. So they're basically just saying, yes, it's lean, or yes, it's rich. So what you'll want to do is get a wideband sensor instead. So this is an AFR gauge, air-fuel ratio gauge, also known as a wideband, and it measures from a 0 to 5 volt range, and it can give you more accurately from 10 AFR all the way up to 18 AFR is pretty normal. And so the location of this sensor is very important. You basically want to put it near the front O2 sensors and where they're going to be. So it has to be anywhere from 24 inches from the exhaust ports of the engine down onto the exhaust. And so here you can see where the factories put the front oxygen sensors, and you're going to put yours relatively in the same place. Now you do want the sensor to be pointing down, so that condensation drips off it. So it needs to really be in the 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock location on the pipe. So you're going to have to go to an exhaust shop and have them weld in this bung, as they call it. It's the place where the wideband sensor screws in. And you want to make sure that the exhaust is installed on the car so that the sensor is not hitting the body of the car underneath. So where the factory has it mounted is kind of a good location. I did mine kind of on the side, and it's got to be before the catalytic converter for an accurate reading. So as you start your car up, it should be running right at that perfect stoichiometric burn value. So for gasoline, 14.7 is about right. And you'll see it fluctuate. And it's fluctuating as the front O2 sensors are basically saying, hey, this is rich, so cut some fuel out, or hey, this is lean, so add more fuel. Okay, and so you'll notice these numbers kind of moving around to try to hit that target of 14.7. So as the car's at idle or just driving around normally, 14.7 is the target that you want. However, once you get up into higher RPMs, and especially for a supercharged or turbocharged car, at full throttle, you want that ratio to be a little more rich. So a good target for a supercharged or turbocharged car on gasoline is about 11.2 parts air per 1 part of fuel. So it's more rich. There's more fuel in it. So it's okay to forfeit that perfect stoichiometric burn of 14.7 in order to have the fuel mixture more rich. And you want it more rich to cool the cylinder and also to prevent pre-ignition. So basically what can happen is you can have pinging or knocking, where basically heat and pressure can ignite the fuel before the spark plug does. And now you have two competing explosions happening, and those shock waves themselves can create the pinging sound that you hear in the cylinder. It creates extra pressure in the cylinder that can damage the piston. And the last thing you want is for the power stroke happening on the compression stroke. So if the piston's on its way up and it's compressing that air-fuel ratio and all the other cylinders are basically helping push that piston up, and then you have the pre-ignition happen, and now that explosion's fighting the piston on its way up, that can take chunks out of the top of your piston, it can bend connecting rods, and it can be a catastrophic failure for your engine. And so it's okay for the mixture to be a little more rich. My car is tuned way too conservatively, and so you'll see here as I go under full boost, it actually pegs the sensor, which is way too rich. There's too much fuel. I'm not getting an efficient burn out of it, and the fuel can also be washing the oil off of the cylinder wall, so the car does definitely need to be retuned. And then you notice when I let go of the throttle, it pegs the sensor at 18, which is very, very lean, and that's fine because you're on decel. There's only enough fuel to keep the engine moving. It doesn't hurt anything. So that's completely normal. Just don't worry if you see it go to 18 when you let off the gas. It is just basically saying that it's not a lot of fuel in the mixture. So now we're going to talk about Lambda. This is a chart I got from Tuned Media. And so basically, Lambda is another way to measure your air-fuel ratio. It's a different metric. And so if you have a regular wideband sensor, you're going to memorize numbers like 14.7 is kind of normal for idle, 11.2 or so is what you want under full boost. Now, there's another way to measure this, and that's Lambda, and it has its own scale, as you can see here. Now, the whole idea with Lambda is it's more important if you're moving to ethanol or E85, or if you're switching between fuels, then this is very important. So basically what Lambda does is it sets the scale and resets everything to a value of 1. So where you see Lambda at 1, that means that's the perfect stoichiometric burn number. So for gasoline, it would be 14.7. As we talked about with ethanol, E85, it would be 9.7. So on your gauge, when you start it up, instead of seeing all these crazy numbers like 14.7 for gasoline or 9.7, you would just see 1. And then, as you can tell, Lambda can get more rich as well, so it can drop down to 0.92, 0.85, 0.80, and so that 11.2 range was somewhere in the 0.75 Lambda. So basically, when you hit full throttle, you should see your car go down to 0.75. And of course, that depends on the car and the situation. A boosted car, supercharged, turbocharged, should be down there at that 0.75 or 11 air-fuel ratio. But a naturally aspirated car under full throttle is usually in the 12 to 13.5 range. So basically, under full throttle, if you don't have a supercharger or turbocharger, you should be see 0.92 Lambda, which would be 13.5 AFR. For gasoline, or you'd want to see 8.97 if you were on E85. So really, in the end, this is more important for your tuner because it's easier for them tuning the car, whether you're on E85 or gasoline. Instead of trying to remember, let's see, was that 14.7 or was that 9.6? For which fuel am I on? They're looking at the same metric. So basically, Lambda says, let's reset the scale here, and everybody, we're just going to say your perfect burn rate is 1. And if you get more rich, we're going to drop that down to 0.9, 0.7, 0.6, etc. And we won't get too far into this, but even GM will use another metric called power enrichment values. And so that's like opposite of Lambda. As you see, the number goes from 1 and goes higher instead of lower. And so basically put, it's the easiest if you just reset all of the scales and use Lambda, starting everything off on the same scale and working your way down as it gets more rich. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, moving over to Lambda may be more useful if you have different fuels. If not, just memorize what the different air-fuel ratios should be for idle and under boost. Definitely, if you're going to be changing pulley sizes or doing things that change that air-fuel ratio within the engine, make sure you have a wideband to monitor that. I'll put some links to other videos I have where we show you my favorite gauge, the AEM failsafe, and how it can alert you if your car is going out of the set parameters for your air-fuel ratios.
12.4, 5, 12.6, 12.8, yep.
That was only to 4,000 RPM too. Okay, second gear. All right, 4,000 RPM. Nope. Yeah, that was up to about 6,000 and it went to 12.6, 12.7. Yeah, so far too lean there. So those poles were on my brother's 10th anniversary before we did the full return fuel system and before we put on his TVS. And so I'll put links to all those videos in the video description, so check them all out. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you're already following, please make sure your notification bell is on so that you get notifications on the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.